everyone. Welcome to the Heartfelt Homes Real Estate Show, where we cover all things related to Greater Boston real estate investing. On today's show, we have John and Brittany DeVitto of JB Real Estate Investments in Southern New Hampshire. They're a husband and wife real estate investment couple whom I had the pleasure to meet at a local real estate meetup earlier this year. And I found their story really fascinating about how they got started in real estate investing and how they've been able to use so many different styles of real estate investing over their relatively short career thus far. And they're going to walk us through that story today. They're going to talk to us about how they found different deals, how they've done development projects, how they got into buy and hold investments, and really why they're doing this in the first place. I found it to be a really enjoyable conversation. I find their story really compelling and something that new and experienced investors alike can really get energized and find and relate to. So I hope you enjoy the conversation as much as I did. And let's now welcome John and Brittany to the show. Welcome to the show, John and Brittany. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. The three of us had met at one of John Bombachi's physical meetups before he had to switch them all to virtual. And I had heard a little bit about your story, but once the two of you presented your full kind of multi-year journey so far with real estate investing at his meetup last week, I was so intrigued, and I found your story so fascinating that I just had to ask you to come on. So thank you guys for making the time and coming on. And I hope people get as much out of your story as I certainly have. So thanks for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, we're excited.
I think we got a lot out of our story too. Once we actually put it on paper, we're like, okay.
Yeah. It's we've talked to some of our other guests and some of the folks in our network, and just like, I think what this coronavirus period has really kind of, brought to everyone's attention is how much fun it is to network, how important it is to talk to other people, and like the things that you learn about not just others, but as you just said, Brittany, like yourself too, right? Just putting that down on paper.
Right.
So
right.
Awesome. Let's start with a little bit about the two of you, what you both do for a living, how you met, and then we'll take it from there.
All right. So we met in 2009 on Big Island Pond, which is the lake that we live on now. Pretty exciting.
That's in New Hampshire?
Yeah, Southern New Hampshire. I love
nice.
both. I love the lake. He lived on the lake. So that was a pretty easy meetup. So we were married in 2017, bought our house prior to that. I think we bought our house in
2012.
2012. Wow. And that's kind of
how
when
time flies.
Things started. Yep. So Johnny is a customs broker in Boston. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I commute to Boston every single day, hour and a half each way. Right now, it's
normally
40 minutes each way now, so that's not bad. And Brittany is a COO of a construction company.
My commute is pretty long. It's got to be like a mile and a half.
Oh, wow.
So
for you.
Really lucky. My construction company does a lot of work throughout New Hampshire, Massachusetts, and even Southern Maine. So driving to certain jobs can take a bit, but I always end up back at my office at the end of the day, and that's a quick ride home. So that's great. But I love what I do. My work makes me really happy, and it's a nice background to have, especially with kind of what we're doing.
Sure. Yeah. And how long did you say you've been doing that?
Almost about 9 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I've been 10 years right out of college, graduated in 2010. And it's actually my father's firm. So we just,
nice.
So importing and exporting right now is crazy with the stuff going on.
Yeah, I imagine. So, and then, so you said you live in Southern New Hampshire, and you said on a pond, right?
Yeah. Big Island.
Near a pond?
In Atkinson.
Yeah. Nice.
It's a lake. I don't know why they call it a pond, but
Oh, technicalities. I can't even get into that. I can't even begin to describe the difference. So nice. So that's a little bit about the two of you. So how did you get into real estate investing? What's the why there? And as you guys embarked on your journey together, and ultimately it sounds like you bought a house up there, how did you get into real estate investing particularly, and what's your driving why right now?
Well, I think the why for us, like so many of other people that are involved in real estate investment, is really just the financial freedom aspect of it. You know, we want the opportunity to be able to buy a vacation home, be able to have, you know, savings, be able to collectively be at our kids' football games and kind of really have a lot of the time to really enjoy life while we're here and not really stuck to the kind of 9-to-5 job. You obviously commute wise.
Yeah, commute wise.
Would like more time a day.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, what was I going to say? Yeah, I'm not good at this. I'm sorry.
You guys are good. We're gonna be fine. And yeah. So so financial freedom, right? So financial freedom, and Johnny, it sounds like your commute, you know, minus COVID is long, and I empathize with that. I used to have an almost 2-hour commute into Boston as well. So what's the driver for you? Is it the time freedom? Is it the financial independence? Is it both?
Yeah, that's what she was saying. It was more for me, like the financial freedom, you know, being able to like do this from home and not have to commute, be great. But the why for me originally was because we started flipping. So just getting the cash, it was just like kind of a part-time, like maybe I can make it a career change. But then that's when we got into like, started seeing like buy and holds, and we're like, oh, this could be like a good retirement. And so it kind of went there. Like this would be a great retirement rather than just putting just in your 401. You could put it into housing and get that money back later, have it paid off. And now you're just collecting all that cash. And then BiggerPockets kind of opened up even further, saying you can do, if you buy enough of these, you can just work from home and do that kind of stuff full time and not have to go have a 9-to-5 job. So it kind of opened up for us.
Yeah, we want to really like maximize our saving, and then, like I said, be able to kind of enjoy life a little bit more. We're not afraid to work really hard and be really busy right now, so we can kind of enjoy later.
Yeah, and let that money work for you, right? Yeah, that's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about your first deal. You guys have had quite the journey in real estate, covering you know, many different angles in a few short years. But let's start at the beginning of your story. Let's start at the beginning of your journey. So let's go into your first deal, intentional or not, and talk a little bit about that, you know, that first house, and, you know, how did you get into it? What kind of house was it? What were your plans at the beginning of it? And then like we'll ultimately go to where you guys, you know, what you were able to do with it.
Yeah. So we like to call it like our accidental investment, because we were really just buying a house. We were renting and thinking that was kind of a waste of money, wanted to build some equity. So we kind of like house hacked, in a sense. So why don't you tell them what we bought?
So we bought a single family home. It was about 1,000 square feet.
It's a little camp on the lake. It needed work.
Yeah. So we had some friends that were interested in like still living with us. We were renting at the time, and they were like, well, we'll live with you, you know, you buy a place. So I was like, all right. So we bought this little, I don't know, cottage. It was just barely like a four season.
Yeah. When was this, first of all? This was like recently, or this was quite a while ago?
2012.
Okay.
And that's when we knew we wanted to do some remodeling to the house. We knew that we wanted to put a second floor on it and kind of got the whole thing, revamp it, because it was our dream location. It just wasn't our dream house. So as Johnny was saying, kind of with those renters, it would give us the ability to make it our dream house. So we could do the remodel, could put the second floor on it, and then have the renters kind of help us pay our mortgage.
Got it.
That way we kind of got the right spot and the right house that we wanted.
Nice. And so you had big ambitions on this one from the get-go. Just because you found this cottage on the lake, you knew that you were going to do some work to this one.
Oh yeah, every house, we were looking at all the houses around the lake, and we were just like, we need to stop renting, and we just need to buy a house, whether it's we live in a cottage or we make it our dream home. And
it's something that you own.
It just made no sense me paying the landlord for they're gaining equity, and I'm just like giving out cash and
in their mortgage.
Yeah. Like, I didn't know too much about investment. There's some people out there that are like, you know what? I'd rather own a home and rent it out, and I'll just rent. So there's a lot of investors like that, and that's not a bad thing. But I didn't know anything about that. I was just like, I need to gain equity for myself, you know.
The biggest thing with us, I mean, knowing what we know now, we would have house hacked, you know, but then we were just more focused on getting our house on the lake. We knew we wanted to be on the lake, and the lake really has, there's no kind of in between. They're either super nice houses that we could not afford, or the little cottages that we had the possibility of making kind of what we wanted. So that's kind of how we started. We figured, okay, let's buy the cottage, great place. Use our friends as the renters to kind of pay our mortgage once we're complete, do the remodel. So in doing the remodel, we had a FHA loan.
Yeah, we
to purchase that.
That's how you bought it. That's how you bought it. Yep.
That's how we bought it. We bought it at the right time. The market was great for buyers at that time. And we had to take out a hard money loan essentially to do the remodels, to put up the second floor, to gut everything. And that ended up, that was our parents.
Yeah. Our parents
okay.
That, yeah, they took out a home equity line. So, but we got that money. We kind of told them what we were planning on doing, how we were going to pay it, and pay it back. So once we remodeled it, got the roommates in, we refied the homes to put it to pay off our parents. And and then so during that refi is when they came back with they had to do a refi, and so they had to do appraisal, and the appraisal came back at $600,000, and we were only in it we bought the house for $270,000. We put about like $90,000 into it, but we had like a $210,000 in like equity. So.
Oh wow! Just in like 6 months of renovation work, or
probably took us like 9 months or so to renovate the whole thing. Mind you, we were living in the house when we were doing this, which we do not recommend to anybody.
Yeah, it was a fun experience. Like legit living.
Not having a roof.
Yeah, there was no roof. It was above it, and I'm telling you, we got more rain than we're getting right now. It was rain.
And you had friends in there with you?
They left.
Okay.
One of them was there.
I think he's there for like a week, and he's like,
yeah.
I was gonna say those are good friends.
Yeah, no. He left.
His TV got wet, and he's like, I'm out.
Yeah.
That's it.
It was wild.
But
awesome.
We did a lot of the work ourselves. We pretty much installed all the floors, did the painting, the baseboard. So we really, like, a lot of that equity was legit sweat equity. But we learned so much kind of just about the process, about running a project, you know, kind of managing all the subcontractors, doing the work ourselves, working full time, then coming home and working. It was really exhausting. But once we realized how much equity we really had in the house, I think that's kind of when like the light bulb went off. We're like, well, that was awesome. Like, we didn't expect to do that, but you know, this is what house hacking is. This is a really cool thing. So I think out of all the projects, this is kind of what we're most proud about. You know, we got our dream. We had a creative way to get our dream home where we wanted, and because we did so much of our own work in the house, it really is that valuable to us. And the lessons that we learned kind of doing this in the first place was really the stepping stones of anything that we've did in the future.
That's awesome. So I think, you know, just from this one project, and this is the house you're still in today, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
We're never leaving.
Yeah, I don't think.
You're never. Okay. Yeah. Dream house on the lake. Bought right time. You're doing pretty well. So, so you find this, just for folks that are listening that maybe haven't heard some of these terms before. So, you used an FHA loan to buy the house, which is a federally backed Federal Housing Authority loan, typically a low down payment loan. Correct. To buy the house, right? Yep. So low out of pocket to buy it. And then when you told us at the meetup last week, it was very compelling, like how much, you know, you got the money from your parents as a private lender, but you two went in prepared. You went in with a plan. You knew exactly what you were going to do. You knew what the renovation estimates were going to. This wasn't like, hey,
No.
hey parents, we need a handout. This was like a business, almost a business partner, right?
Oh, it
Right.
was business.
Yeah.
We had to sell ourselves.
Yeah, maybe harder than getting hard money loan,
Yeah,
right?
it might be.
Right?
But yeah, that's what you got to do if you're just starting out. You just got to go into the hard lender, even to the bank, anyone. You just got to show them the plan, show them it's going to work.
Right.
And they will, as long as the numbers do work, they'll pretty much give you the money. Like that's kind of how you should treat everything.
Yeah, I mean, obviously not everybody has the ability to, ask their parent. We're super thankful that, they were to be able to be there for us and to do that. But there's so many other ways, like Johnny's saying, go into a bank, find a hard lender, looking for different creative ways, trying to, find somebody that will finance a project. But either way, like you said, it's never a handout wherever you go. You always kind of have to have your plans, have to have your numbers. You have to believe in the project, be well educated about your own project that you can really sell it to somebody.
Yeah, that's really well said. So at the end of this project, you guys are in, you're feeling good. You've a good equity position in this property, a little over $200,000. It sounds like.
Right.
The light bulb goes off. So you as many others do, you have a sense of pride and you want home ownership, which is why you kind of got into this house.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And the light bulb goes off. That was an investment light bulb. That was hey, we should be doing more of this for an investment.
Yeah, that was when that was when I was like, wow, we can make some money doing this. So that's when Britt and I was like, let's try this. Let's start doing flips.
Yeah.
So in order to do that, like when we refied to pay back my parents, I didn't take any cash out. I was just like, oh wow, we got money. So we got like equity. So I had to like shop for a home equity line.
When you refinanced, you probably had a choice to take out actually more money than you had put into the project, right? And it sounds like you elected to just take out what you needed to pay your folks back, your lenders back, right? But you left a considerable amount of equity in your property that was otherwise you're not able to access that. And a home equity line of credit will, a bank will let you lend or borrow against that equity that's stuck in your property and access cash that way. So you shop for a home equity line with the intentions to go flip.
Yeah, exactly. To have the money to pull out so I can offer a cash. Like we wanted it to offer cash. I think that was where we could get a property for cheaper when you like kind of ask for cash or you offer cash. You say
more of an attractive buyer. It can be quicker close and turn something around a little bit faster. So we went to Bank of America.
Yeah.
They had the best.
Yeah, loan to value rate. It was 85%. I just called them to kind of increase it, and they're actually down to 75% with this COVID stuff.
Oh, right now, yeah.
Yeah, I just found that out today. So I'm like, no need to do the appraisal.
That doesn't impact your existing line, though, right?
No, but if they came out, because I was asking for like an increase right now, and if they came out, it would, they would use that as the new number and take out if it came, depending on what appraisal came back at. So I'm like,
don't do that.
You just leave it.
Yeah. So I think we didn't know the whole picture of real estate investment at that point. We were kind of very closed-minded, just we were ignorant because we didn't know enough about the whole thing. So we were just looking for flips. We weren't sure how much we should be making off of them or exactly what to look for, I suppose. We know we obviously wanted houses that needed work because that was kind of our specialty. That's like our little niche with the construction backgrounds. Like we wanted to do work to a home and then sell it. Obviously, like that's a kind of the flip value there. So we never knew about rentals and all that kind of game yet. We were just looking for a flip.
Yeah.
So our first one we found in Bow, New Hampshire, which was probably, 45 minutes from us?
Yeah.
So we were doing a lot of driving back and forth again, because we did most of the work in our house. We figured we'd do most of the work there too. And again, learned so much during that project.
Yeah.
That was a lot of late nights there and everything like that. But the house was in a trust, in an estate, excuse me. And the homeowner currently, or the person in charge of the trust, was the son to an elderly couple. I think one had passed like the year before, and they were moving the mother out. But the house was completely full of things. It was kind of like a hoarding situation. So I think a lot of buyers were scared. It was in a great area. Bow is a really nice residential town, right outside of Concord. But people were really scared when they walked in there because nothing had been updated since the 70s, and the place was just like boxes you could barely get through.
Oh, wow.
And for me, like I have a lot of dreams. He calls me like a big dreamer. So I walk in the house and I'm like, whoa, this could be great. And Johnny's looking at me like, what are you talking about? This house is a piece. But it had such good structure, and the layout was great. And, we knew that it needed new bathrooms and updated kitchen, and, it had original hardwood floors. So it had some of these really great things. We just needed to kind of clean it out. But going in with the cash that we had, because we had the cash, we were a lot more an attractive buyer to this guy who's head of the trust, who lives in New York City, does not want to come up and clean the house, does not want to kind of deal with anything. So we ended up offering him a little bit less than asking.
Yep.
But including we'll clean out the house for you.
Oh, okay. So they just left everything in there. Wow.
Yeah.
We've done some interesting stuff.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Where'd you find this deal? Was this MLS? Was this off market?
Yeah. So right when we said we're going to do some flips, I was just on MLS, Zillow, probably not the best things to be on, but I was on there, and I actually found it on Zillow. And then that night we went to look at it. So there are some good deals on MLS.
So you were ready to move quickly.
Yes.
We went out there that afternoon, and we probably put it on for like a day or two later.
I think the next day.
Yeah. After so the kind of dynamic to us, we're a pretty good team because we kind of separate tasks, I guess you could say. So like Johnny's incredible. Every day he's on MLS. Every day he's on Zillow. Even now, he's just so quick at it, so good, always searching. He knows those websites so well. So the good deals I think that are on MLS, and correct me if I'm wrong, and Zillow go pretty quickly. So you have to kind of act fast. So he'll send me 3 or 4 things a day, honestly, of deals that we want to look at, and we try to qualify and kind of quantify them pretty quickly. We don't want to spend too much time on something that I know right away is not, there's rotted sills I can see from the pictures. If I can see it from the pictures, we don't want to go there. So my aspect is kind of the construction, seeing the vision, putting numbers to, the remodel and the repairs. And then you're kind of running all of the rest of the numbers. You really kind of know in and outs of that sort of thing. But he's our searcher.
Yeah. I'm the numbers guy. She's obviously the talker and the builder.
You're the leads guy, and she's the executioner. No, that makes.
But it works
no,
out.
We do. We're a good team.
Yeah, well, that I think goes to whether it's a partnership between 2 friends or 2 people that don't know each other, or a husband and wife. I think it goes to show bringing different traits to the table is really, really powerful in any kind of business transaction or business relationship. So that's awesome. So you guys, all right. So you find this house on MLS.
Mm-hmm.
When is this? This is 2 years after. So it's 2014,
No,
roughly.
It's later.
2015. I think we did it right.
2015.
Maybe.
So, okay, so a couple years after the lake house, right?
Probably by the time we kind of moved in and realized what we had, and got the HELOC loan and everything like that. Probably about a year after.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to get into it, but it took a long time to get the HELOC loan because I had to fight with FEMA. So we're so close to the water, and we have 2 decks, and they're saying, well, with the water being so close to that one deck, that attaches to your house. And I was like, no, it doesn't attach to my house. It was just a long story.
Yeah, we had to kind of surveyor and prove
we got it cleared. So
our house wasn't going to fall into the lake.
Nothing's ever easy in this
this
field, is it?
But we're learning,
No.
even if it, so now if I buy a flip on the lake, I know to look for FEMA or flood insurance and stuff like
Mhm.
that. So
Yep. Cool. All right. So you have a good cash position from your HELOC. You are ready, locked and ready to, you know what you're looking for in your first flip. You find this house, you find a motivated seller, it sounds like.
Mhm.
And then for folks listening, you made an appealing offer, right? So all cash, you even threw in, hey, we'll clean the house out. Don't worry about coming back.
yeah.
And so how important do you think, like, understanding what position the seller is in, and then adapting your offer or adapting your approach to make sure that you're providing specific value that's important to them, right? Whether that be monetarily, whether that be, just making the transaction easy. Like, how important did you find that to be? You
Pretty
ultimately got the house, right?
Yeah, no, we got the house. It's huge to know the seller, kind of like what their interest. Like we knew he was in New York.
Their wants.
Yeah,
and
his
their
mom
needs.
just died. He doesn't want to be involved in that. So like that's where we're like, you know what, we're gonna do as little as possible. Give you the cash, no inspection. We'll clean out the house for you. And yeah, he took that because like that was appealing to him. He doesn't want to come back to New Hampshire and
Right.
out the stuff and stuff like that. I was like, just take what you want and we'll take care of the rest. So I think that's huge. For all of our deals, we get it from knowing the seller. Like even our house, she was
Yeah, and not so much knowing who they
Sure.
are, but paying attention to the details of the listings, being aware of the surroundings, spending time kind of at the property, walking by. So for our house, when we bought it, we knew that it was, a good market for us, not so good for her. We knew that she had tenants she was trying to evict.
this is our house.
This is the house.
Yep. Yep.
Things like that where, we kind of see opportunities to try to essentially, we want to make a good deal. So we want to help them and we want our good deal, right? So kind of knowing the things that they want, if we can sweeten the deal a little bit to kind of get past some of the other buyers, that's what we'll do.
Yeah, that's a great tactic. And I think, for folks listening and for folks that have done deals or are looking to do their first deal, I think that is crucially important, is adapting to and seeing how you can differentiate yourself and add a lot of value to the seller. And that doesn't always mean paying the top price. So,
Right.
All right, so let's talk about, so you take possession of this house. What are your plans with it? How long does it take? How does the flip go?
It was probably, we did it pretty quick. We probably did it in about 3 months, I would say.
2 months for the remodel, 2 months for the sale.
2 months for the remodel. Yeah. So we flipped a remodel pretty quickly.
Quick.
And then once we put it on the market, it was around like Thanksgiving, Christmas time. So I think, just being around the holidays, being the winter, it took a little bit longer to sell than we were hoping for. But we did get almost a full price offer, I think,
Yeah.
of what we had it listed for.
And then what did you do? Like what did we do to the?
Oh, right. So like I was saying before, the layout was great. So we did take down the kind of kitchen to living room wall, which is your typical 1970s, all the rooms have to be divided and bring it kind of current to that open concept, space and living. New kitchen, 2 new bathrooms. We sanded and refinished all the hardwood floors that were upstairs, new paint everywhere, updated the fixtures, some of the doors. That sort of thing, really just kind of revamped the whole house. Did a little bit of landscaping on the outside, just to kind of freshen up the look. I think we painted the shutters, just kind of giving it a pop of color, making it look a little more modern and loved, I guess, than it kind of did.
Nice. Sounds like a heavy cosmetic update, but nothing.
Oh, it was. We ran HVAC and everything too.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's what I think I appreciate a lot about Johnny and I is we treat the jobs that we do, the properties that we have, like they're our own home. So, we did some of the upgrades that we necessarily didn't have to do. We could have put in a fiberglass tub shower unit, but instead we knew, it was going to be the family bathroom, kids and adults were going to be using it. We wanted to tile the walls. Like I said, the little bit of the outside of work, we really wanted to kind of put our heart into it. Essentially, we don't really cheap out. We put in all new HVAC, we ran AC ducts throughout the whole house. And we just make sure that the projects are done. We want to put our name on something that we're proud of, essentially.
That's awesome. I mean, it's a product, right? You're selling a product. So, okay. So heavy cosmetic renovation, nothing structural, nothing, no addition, nothing like that, right?
No.
8 weeks or so, 2 months to renovate, which is relatively quick. You're selling into the holiday season at or near full price offer, feeling good about yourselves. And then what did you take away from this deal? How'd the numbers work out? Did it exceed your expectations? What were your kind of lessons learned from this? What was your initial reaction kind of after you closed on that and said, wow, we just finished our first intentional kind of flip?
Yeah, well, we were excited. We got our dog the day that we kind of finished the remodel. So we were all excited about that. But the numbers, they could have been a little better. So the flooring, we ran into some flooring issues. So that made the price go up a little bit, or a lot of it. We were shooting for 30,000 in profit. We only got 15, but the experiences that we got from the project, the ins and outs, you can't buy that. So we were excited.
We weren't sure what to expect. I think first going into it, you don't know what percentage you're supposed to be making on a flip. And we've been asking around before we did this, and no one really knew.
Tons of research.
Scales are so different. So we were upset that we didn't hit our budget that we had planned for. But like Johnny said, the experience that we gained and still being able to make $15,000 off of a house, our first flip, we were pretty excited about.
Yeah, you're still making money, so that's pretty good.
Right.
Okay, so you finish this first intentional flip, make a little bit of money, learn a ton of invaluable lessons, and so you say, we want to keep growing slowly and we want to go into another small flip, or what was the next project from there?
Yeah, so that's
your BiggerPockets.
Yeah, that's
right here.
Oh, this is all pre-BiggerPockets.
This is
pre. Yeah, we don't know.
Oh, wow.
We don't know much.
Yeah, so research guy here after we do this.
Yeah, because I'm
I found this thing. You gotta see it.
So then another light bulb went off, right?
Oh yeah,
the second light bulb.
BiggerPockets started offering charts and stuff like that. I don't have to use spreadsheets. I was all psyched.
So I call him Mr. Spreadsheet because our whole life is on a spreadsheet. I'm not even kidding. And when he found this website, he for days was talking about and showing me the spreadsheets, and I'm like, right, yeah, they're a great spreadsheets.
I did a lot of deals.
You're so excited about this whole thing and the way the website works and everything like that. But it was such a big platform for us to find out so many different aspects of real estate investment that we had no idea of until this point.
Yeah, that's when we kind of found out about buy and holds and financial freedom and all that stuff. So we're still on board with doing flips because we don't have the money for the buy and hold. So we're looking for flips right now, after the bow project.
For the bow one, yeah.
So we're constantly looking, and then that's when Brittany, I think you got notified about a development opportunity.
Yeah, so one of the things that we love what we do. We love real estate investment. It's so exciting to us. When we come home from work, we want to talk about it. On the weekends, we want to talk about it. We like to go to our property that we own. We like to kind of look at plans and flips, and that, I think that's so rare to have something that you love to do and want to do every day. And a lot of people that we meet in this industry, love it just as much. So we're constantly talking about it and telling people about the projects and our ideas and all the things that we want to do. And in doing so, and kind of getting our name out there, our dream out there, that sort of thing, we came across kind of a resource who had a development, or he had a raw lot that was permitted to be a 5-unit single family home development. And coming across that with our partners, we were just like, this is a great opportunity. We never thought that we would be getting into a development this early in the game. That was certainly something that we thought about in the future, and always wanted to do. But when this kind of came up, we were like, okay, we're in. It was just such a cool thing to get, a whole nother side of the real estate investment game that we didn't think we'd have the opportunity kind of at even bidding at, for the next 5-10 years if we were lucky. So the raw lot basically came, like I said, permitted, which is a really big deal because the permitting process to get something like that, in with the town takes a long time. So for us, we basically had to do the excavation and had to do the build. And with my background, it was pretty easy to do that for us, just because we had those kind of resources that could go take a look and let us know, are we thinking ledge here? How much ledge? How much excavation? We knew the cost of building a new home, that sort of thing. So we decided to kind of jump on to do this big project.
Wow. So and where is this project?
This is in Hampton, New Hampshire, right on the beach. It was a really great lot, and we bought at a time where nothing was on the market really. So there was a ton of other people looking at this potential development, and there could have been a lot of ledge there. It was very unknown how much ledge was there. And again, having the resources that we did, we weren't as afraid of that as other people, because you never know how much it's really going to cost until you get out there with an excavator, you're digging, you understand the whole, is blasting involved, is how much hammering is involved, that sort of thing. So again, kind of having those resources helped us quite a bit to understand some of the cost and then be prepared for the unknown cost.
Got it. And so this is a raw land deal, pre-permitted, in need of development, like you mentioned.
Yep.
You like the deal. So the deal, you're made aware of the deal. You look at it. It looks good. And how did you go about acquiring the deal? Did you take it down with partners?
Mm-hmm.
How did you kind of get in? How did you actually acquire it?
Yeah. So we used to buy the land. We used the HELOC loan of the $200,000, and then our partner put in $200,000. We didn't have the remaining amount for that $50,000, so we talked to the buyer, and he kind of wrote like what did you call it, a payback loan? Yeah.
So the land cost $450,000. Each partner threw in the $200,000, and we were short $50,000 essentially. So at closing, we only had $400,000. He did like a seller finance. Took paper back for the other $50,000.
Yeah, it was a creative way. I'd never even heard of something like this, but our partner actually mentioned it, and he was just like,
the wheeler and dealer.
So let's
let's have partners like that.
Yeah, exactly. So we did that, and then that's when we kind of went to the bank to try to get a loan for the remaining of the excavation and the remainder of the houses.
Got it. So I'm sorry, go ahead, Brittany.
We bought the land, and it's like, well, this is great, but we have no more money.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna ask. So that 450 was just to take possession of the land, and then you still have to go convince somebody to give you money to go actually excavate and build, right?
Yes.
Exactly. And that's when the bank basically said, we want to show that you have skin in the game. And then, we're like, well, that was all our money.
Yeah, we have a lot of skin in the game.
We own it.
Yeah.
All of our skin.
But they wanted to see that we were going to move forward, that we were actually going to make this a development, and kind of start that game. So we needed to be able to clear the land, start some of the stumping, start some of the excavation, that sort of thing. So we needed to find a hard lender to give us kind of about $100,000 to do this, to start before the bank would even kind of look at us. So again, by us loving what we do and chatting about it all the time, we found a hard lender that we never thought would be a hard lender, which I think is the reason why it's so important to really talk about it and to watch a YouTube channel like this and get to know people and market yourself and things like that, because you find resources out of people that you never knew or never even thought were there. So we had the hard lender.
Yeah. So first off, like, you guys are probably thinking, what about your parents again? They weren't into the deal. They were like, nope, you're being dumb. Like
that well dried up, right?
Yeah.
So we were a little scared.
Yeah. So we were going skiing one day, and we mentioned it to one of our friends, and he's like, I can lend you the money. Mm-hmm. So we got like a 6-month, 11%. 11%. We didn't have to pay him anything until it was finalized. So I think we got it for 11%. And that's when we got that $100,000 to clear the lots and everything like that. And then we went to the bank. We said, hey, we did all this. We have the loan. They're like, yeah, we'll give you the loan for the excavation, like the remaining $400,000, and we'll give you the money for one house, unless you sell one. So
Pre-sale.
yeah, so we pre-sold.
Okay.
So we put the houses on the market that day, and 3 sold that week.
Before you had even a foundation poured?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So we put the
Wow.
plans
We
on
put the plans, yeah.
MLS,
Right.
and 3 sold. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 sold that week. It was great. We put it for $30,000 more than we estimated that they were going to sell for. So that was great. Once that happened, the bank was just like, "Yep, here you go. Let's get this thing going." So we got the money for that.
Yeah. They gave us the remaining money
For all 5 of the units.
Yeah. So we were able to knock each house one by one. I don't know. The framers would go in to unit, because we started 5 to 1. The framers would go into unit 5, and then once they were done, they would just hop to unit 4, and they would just kind of be in a line.
Mm-hmm.
That's more your department does.
Yeah. So we did all the construction in, I want to say 5-6 months.
Wow.
Actually broke ground to when we finished all the houses. So again, which is, I think, super important when you're doing any kind of a remodel or anything like that. It's super important to have a schedule, to stick to your schedule, and to try to do it in as a short amount of time as possible. Because you're if you're a month over, now we're talking about a month worth of taxes,
holding costs.
all your holding costs. So the quicker you do it, the better. And a lot of the buyers that we had here wanted to be able to use their houses in the summer for the beach and everything like that. So it was really, really quick. It was a ton of work, just managing a whole project like that. But we, again, learned so much. And then kind of the selling, I guess, end of it, you can go over.
Yeah. Is that what you were going to ask next? Kind of how it all.
Yeah. How it just, so it sounds like, it's goes from a raw land development opportunity to let's figure this out and get scrappy with kind of lending, to pre-selling, to building the units, and then how did it kind of come to an end, and when was this one? I guess I should have asked that to begin with. This was relatively recently, right? Last couple of years.
2018?
19. We just finished the project in it finalized in I don't know, August. But we purchased the land in 2018 in April. Took us 6 months to get everything going, get the loan. Then we got the loan in December, and then that's when we built the houses. And we pretty much got all the houses built by July.
Mm-hmm.
But for the numbers wise, expenses, your costs for your subs were still coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't finalize everything until August, September for our profits. So the profits, the excavation was a lot less than we thought. Not a lot less, but it was less than what we thought for ledge wise. So that was good. And then based off of the first 3 homes sold for $30,000 more than we thought. And then the last 2 homes, we upped that even higher because it sold so quick on the first 3 homes. We made a decent amount. So between our partners, we made about $430,000.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. We split that down the middle, and we're ready for another one later.
Yeah, this whole project, I think we really took a leap on. The numbers made sense, and even kind of the range that we had made sense, because we weren't really confident on the exact excavation number because of the ledge and everything like that. Just the range, we could make this at the smallest amount or this. The project kind of exceeded all of that, which was wonderful. But going into it, we were really nervous. To sign a loan that is that much money was I think both of our face turned white. We're oh God, is this a good idea? So we kind of really leaped on this project. She's
the pusher and the jumper, all of it. She loves to take chances.
But now that you're right, so now that it's done, so when you reflect on how you felt going into it, right, which is probably a little bit of fear or at least there was a nervous excitement going into it, right? And then on the
Right.
backside of it coming out saying, wow, our numbers, yes, things worked out in your favor, but you guys still went in and underwrote this deal with a lot of contingency, knowing that excavation and ledge and blasting could have been a lot higher than it was.
Yeah.
The units could have sold for $30,000 less than they did, and you still would have made money. So you went in understanding the numbers very, very clearly.
Mhm.
And so now that you reflect and you're out and you're done the deal and you've sold all 5 units, like when you look back, how do you feel compared to, that feeling of when you were going into it?
I get the chills just thinking about it now. We're so blessed to obviously everything worked out as it did.
Mhm.
We could have only gained $50,000, but it still would have been worth the experience.
To be able to do something like this, to get our foot in the door with a development like this. But yeah, I mean, we feel super lucky to have great partners going into this, to have good selling prices, to all have good buyers, everything like that kind of worked out. To have the market was great at that time. So we feel super lucky. But I mean, for me, I get hungry. So I've done this. I'm proud. I'm excited. I've learned a lot, and I'm like, what's next? Let's go.
Yeah, and we get the cash, and I'm like, this is like you said, the financial freedom, my retirement. Let's take this cash, cause we got the equity still. So let's take this cash and put it into a home, to buy.
Yeah, and so so you do the single family flip, you do a large 5-unit, a relatively large 5-unit raw land, ground up development.
Yeah.
So, we only have a couple more real estate niches to cover. So where did you go from here?
So, but before this, before we did the development, Johnny really wanted to do buy and holds. And I was a little nervous about that with renting. Like I didn't know renting that well. I knew construction that well. So, we were actually looking for rentals before this kind of popped up, and it kind of changed our direction a little bit. So as soon as we were done this, we're like, okay, time for buy and holds. And I think one of the biggest things that you were mentioning earlier is we eventually want, the money, the cash to buy, multi-units. So every time we, kind of gain a little bit more cash by doing these different things, by doing a flip, by doing this development, it just gets us closer and closer to our goal of being able to purchase multis with cash, being that attractive buyer, with cash. Obviously it's more than the HELOC loan and everything like that. So we're kind of building and rolling, what we have. So rolling our HELOC to the flip, and then rolling the cash from that to the development, and rolling the cash from the development onto our buy and hold. So that's what we were looking for.
But the end game is that buy and hold, steady inflow of cash. That's
Right.
and the flips and developments are just a means to that end. Is that right?
Exactly.
To get that cash. Because
Yeah.
we don't want to use all our money, because then we won't be able to do like flips and stuff like that.
Other short-term flips. So, all right. So buy and hold is top of mind. It's, earlier this year, right? Or end of last year?
End of last year. So
end of last year.
Yep.
And what'd you get into?
9-unit in Manchester.
A 9-unit build apartment.
Go big or go home, right here.
A little bit of a dream.
Okay, so we've gone from like rural Bow, New Hampshire, out to the seacoast, and now we're in Manch Vegas, as some call it.
Yeah.
So, all right, we come back to the city.
So Johnny set a goal for himself and us, and where we wanted to be kind of in 5 years, and heading a little bit more into this and having some strong legs in this game. And you said what you want?
20 units.
20 units.
In 5 years.
In 5 years.
And people saying you're nuts.
So where'd you find this deal? MLS, right?
Yeah, MLS.
So he's looking all the time on MLS again and finds this deal and sends it to me, and I'm like, this is half the goal. So why wouldn't we do this? So it was kind of another big bite that we took, but the numbers made sense. We
yeah, that's the most important thing to me, is the numbers make sense, and that's once they make sense. I have on the BiggerPockets calculator, you got like the repair value. So I kind of put in what I think, which is probably mostly off compared to what she thinks when she goes into the unit. So I'll be like, all right, it works good if we can get it the repair for this amount. So then she goes in, she's like, yes or no, like, and we kind of go from there.
Got it. So this building so it was on market deal. It came on.
Yep.
Johnny, you're active on here every day. So you see this building. How quick did you have to move on this one? I'm not familiar with the Manchester market and how competitive it is for larger, medium-sized multifamily buildings.
Manchester is very, very competitive right now. You're not only up against, real estate investors, but you're up against homeowners that are house hacking or, just looking for a spot.
Not in a 9 unit.
Not in the 9 unit, but in a smaller
General.
family.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that was attractive about the 9 unit, is that the buyer list was a little bit smaller. It was mostly just investors,
Right.
which helped.
Well, so on this one, we had an agent working with us. I usually use my mom on like the flips and stuff like that. And then she recommended, she's like, I don't really know commercial. So she got in contact, she recommended me someone. And then they found the deal before it even listed because Elm Grove was selling it. So we got in contact. We saw it before it even hit the market. But then soon after we left that place, they put it on the market. So we were one of the first ones. So we made an offer. It actually didn't get accepted. Someone else's offer got accepted, but then they backed out, and then we kind of jumped back on it. All right, we'll go a little higher and let's make this deal work.
Cool. And so that closed successfully, and you
Yep.
now own it?
Yes.
Awesome. And what type of, so it's a 9-unit apartment building. Is this is this a value add play? Is it relatively turnkey? Was it mostly occupied? What type of project was it?
So it was fully occupied, but it did need the structure was good. Location was great. It had good parking and stuff like that. Anything, everything that you kind of want in the city, because a lot of places they're just on-street parking. So off-street parking was great. The units themselves needed a little bit of repair work.
Yeah, but very cosmetic, superficial remodel for sure. Nothing major, which was good. And because they were all rented, we figured when people start to naturally leave, we'll redo the units. We did want to take care of the common areas. Again, just kind of giving our love to the building. If we live there, we would want new rugs and fresh paint in this common area, kind of give it some color, kind of setting a precedence. This is how we run our buildings. We want tenants that will respect us, will respect you, kind of thing.
Awesome. And so you did a little bit of work to the common areas, and has everything gone relatively smoothly with tenants? Have you had to turn any of the units over? How has that gone?
Yeah.
So we're managing it ourselves, which
you are
a ton of research about. And we set basically a business policy for, being the managers here. We sat down when we purchased the building with every single tenant. We, came in, sat down at the kitchen table with them and said, here's our rules. This is how we run things. These are the things that are really important to us. But we're here. If you need something, you let us know. Here's how to contact. So we kind of basically gave them, a whole portfolio of this is what we do. This is what we need you to do, kind of thing. So in doing that, it was a little rough, to begin with, making sure the trash receptacles are properly used and making sure the parking situation is.
Yeah, the parking.
That was a nightmare.
The parking was crazy. They were parking everywhere, and we're
free for all.
So yeah, you had some tenants that would just, the bad tenants, they'd park wherever they want, and then you have these good tenants, and sometimes they wouldn't have a parking spot, and it's just that was the first thing we did. We came, we talked to them, and we kind of gave them assigned spots and stuff like that. That was the first thing we did, and kind of got a tow company involved. They had one tow company. One of the tow companies came, they grabbed someone, and there hasn't been a problem since.
Yeah. So the tenants are good. We're collecting our rent fine. They're paying their rent, especially with this pandemic. We've been glad to see the rent rolls every month and not having an issue with that. So things are going really steady over there. We have done, we did redo one unit as we had a tenant leave, new kitchen, new bathroom basically, and some flooring, and then fresh paint throughout. Have since 2 weeks ago maybe, rented that unit. So we have found renters through this whole thing. That was a little nerve-wracking for us. We were worried we weren't going to be able to fill the apartment with everything going on. We definitely saw less traffic than another unit that we had rented, but we found some good buyers, some good tenants that met all our qualifications.
Yeah.
Wow, that is really awesome to hear, and I'm glad to hear things are going so well so far. Especially with, I'm sure it was a little unsettling having recently purchased this building and this being kind of your first foray into buy and holds, and all of a sudden coronavirus comes around and everybody starts talking about, rent moratoriums, and I'm sure that was a stressful.
It was scary. Yeah, no, it's scary. It's still scary because New Hampshire, they closed down everything April 1st.
Mm-hmm.
So this month's rent, May 1st, is going to be the first month. Like,
I think that we really see the effects.
Yeah. So like we're saying everything's good now, but like I'm interested in seeing like if everyone pays like they have been, because this would be the month that they got laid off when they closed down the non-essentials.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you and a lot of other people, and we're just for folks that'll see this next week, we're recording on Thursday, so tomorrow's the first of the month, and if you think back to mid-March, end of March, everybody was worried about April 1, but then I think folks realized that there was some stimulus checks starting to come in. Folks were able to absorb that first month of rent maybe on some small reserves that they had. And then all of a sudden, people started really talking about May 1 being the
Right.
This will be telling, right?
Yeah, this is gonna be it, but
this is gonna be the one, because I think I saw a national I think we're in the I think most residential multifamily nationwide is in the 95-ish% of rent collection through April. And it'll be very, very interesting to see where that metric goes. If that metric stays kind of where that, in the mid 90s range, or if we really start to see a dip down.
Yeah.
Well, I wish you guys the very best with that building. That is really, really exciting. And I mean, in the last hour or so, we've gone from, and this is really why I loved your story so much last week when I heard it from start to finish, is like, that is like some people's entire real estate investment career in like 4 projects. So that's like, it's just fascinating to hear. And I think the development, diving in headfirst to a large development effort that you hadn't necessarily done before, and just hearing that was very inspirational to me, because my wife and I and other people we talk to, want to eventually get into that type of project too. And sometimes it takes, you have to ask people in your network, you have to be diligent about your numbers. And if the math is there, like, go for it and take action. And that's what you guys have done. And it's such a great story to hear. So, so thank you again for sharing all that. Is there for folks, so we're trying to get our message out and network with folks that might be new to real estate investing, who either have done 1 or 2 deals, or maybe just looking to do their first deal. Is there something that you would recommend? What should folks that are looking to get into this real estate investment space be doing, especially considering kind of coronavirus and what's going on? What's one recommendation that you would have for a newer investor?
So, like you said, just going for it is like the number one. I ran so many deals where the numbers worked and I was just scared, like, and it just took her to be like, let's just do it. Like, let's just go for it. Just like the development or this buy and hold. Like, I ran so many numbers and there was so many that did work, and we just never pulled the trigger. So I think like the number one thing is to double check the numbers, make sure they do work, and just do it. Just go for it.
Yeah. So, I mean, study your numbers, know your numbers, make sure your numbers are accurate, go over it a couple times. But you got to start somewhere, right? So even if our first deal, our flip didn't end up the way we wanted to, we did it. We had it under our belt, and we were much, stronger coming out the other side, ready to go for something. So I think that is a big one, and from our story, like we had to leap a bunch, and to kind of just pull the trigger and do it. I think the other thing that I really would like to, try to tell people that are just getting into this, or people that want to shift gears, you have to be creative with the way that where you find your money, how you're getting loans, all that kind of thing. Really, that was the biggest thing I think that I took away from BiggerPockets and the book that we had read, which I forget the name. It was the first one. It was
How to invest in real estate with other people's money.
I think it was probably that. And that was the biggest thing that I took away from it. It was like, be creative. At first reading that, I didn't really know what that meant. But then thinking back on, how we did our first home, like that's what he means. Finding a lender, rolling your cash, getting a HELOC loan, playing different angles, that being creative to be able to take that next step after you've done your first one is super important.
So cool. I'll make sure to link to that book too. I'll look up the exact title and I'll link it into the show notes for folks that may want to reference it. And then if folks are inspired by this story, want to reach out, or otherwise just talk and network and learn from you, how can they reach out and get in contact with you?
We have a Facebook page.
Yes, yeah, there's things. We got a Facebook page, JB Real Estate Investments. You can look us up there. We're actively on it. I'm also actively on BiggerPockets at John L. DeVitto Jr. So you can just reach out there or by email. And I'm sure Todd will put that in the.
I'll link those in the show notes. Yep.
Yeah. So JBREI LLC at gmail.com is just an email. You guys could reach out anytime.
Yeah, I mean, BiggerPockets, having that platform to be able to talk to people and listening to podcasts and that stuff really helped us so much. So we'd love to help others that, are curious on, where to go next, or have any questions for us, or any way we can help.
Yep. It brought us to you.
We'd love to.
Yeah, it's all about networking and just talking to people and write that message or write the email or pick up the phone and just connect with people. And especially right now, I mean, with the technology we have, accessible to us, there's no reason not to. So
that's crazy.
John and Brittany,
anyways.
I know you can't go out anyways. Exactly.
So might as well reach out and talk about things you love, So
absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. This was really awesome, and I feel very lucky that you were able to come on and tell us about that. So thank you both for coming on, and I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Yeah, bye guys.